Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of Worst Case Macchiato. And today I'm actually with Madison in person. So this is a new experience. I've never recorded on the fly, never recorded on my laptop. So we'll see how that goes. How's it going, Madison?
Pretty good, and you?
I'm great. I'm loving the I'm no longer working right now moment. So it's good for now, but I'll get bored quickly.
Fair enough. And I work too much.
Yeah, you worked all weekend, double shifts all weekend. So I didn't really get to see you.
No, that's true. But we're here now, and we're recording some episodes.
Yes, exactly. We're going to record a couple the first day, and then we're going to go back to our normal distance one, so it'll sound the way that it sounded before in a couple episodes from now. But today, Madison's going to do a solo, which I have no idea which case it is, so I'm excited.
Yeah, cool. You want me to start?
Yeah.
Cool. So today we're going to be covering the Snapchat murders case.
Ooh.
So it would be the murders of Abigail Williams and Libby German. So on February 13th of 2017, 13-year-old Abigail Joyce Abby Williams and 14-year-old Liberty Rose Lynn Libby German, there's some mouthful names right there, were dropped off by Libby's older sister Kelsey German on County Road 300 northeast of the Hoosier Heartland Highway around 1:35 p.m. The girls were hiking on the Manon High Bridge over Deer Creek. Among the woodland in remote Deer Creek Township, at 2:07, Libby posted a photo of Abby walking on the bridge. That would be the last they would be heard from again. The girls were reported missing at 5:30 p.m. after they did not make the meetup with Libby's father at 3:15 p.m. The families initially looked for them themselves before reporting the girls missing to police. Authorities quickly searched the area, but initially did not suspect foul play in the disappearance. However, this changed rather fast when their bodies were discovered around noon the next day, about 0.8 kilometers or half a mile east of the abandoned Manon High Bridge. The bodies were found on the north band of Deer Creek. So, for years, police refused to say how the girls died and revealed just few details of the crime scene. However, shocking new details about the murders came to light in a search warrant application that was obtained by a podcast called The Murder Sheet and was shared with The Independent back in 2022, so just last year. The warrant filed by an FBI agent investigating the murders back in 2017 and partly redacted was to carry out a search of a home of a local man, Ronald Logan. In it, the agent revealed that the girls had lost a lot of blood during their deaths and that their killer is believed to have moved and staged their bodies before taking some sort of souvenir from the scene. For the first time, the warrant also revealed that the teenagers had been killed by some type of weapon. The word for the weapon was redacted in the document. The murderer would have been covered in the victim's blood in the aftermath of the slayings due to large amount of blood loss that was lost by the victims at the crime scene. Because of the nature of the victim's wounds, it's nearly certain the perpetrator of the crime would have gotten blood all over their person and clothing. They are believed to have been killed in another location before their bodies were moved. In court documents released in June of 2023, new details came to light about the murders for the first time, and they are both believed to have been killed with a knife, suffering wounds by a sharp object. A gun was also believed to be used in the crime after an unspent bullet was found by the victims' bodies. Some items of the girls' clothing were also missing, and Libby's iPhone containing the infamous video of Bridge Guy was found underneath her body at the scene. Articles of clothing from the girls were missing from the scene, including a pair of underwear and a sock. So now we'll just kind of jump into the investigation. So as early as February 15th, 2017, Indiana State Police began circulating a still image of the individual reportedly that was seen on the Manon High Bridge trail near where the two friends were slain. The photo was grainy and it depicted what they believed to be a Caucasian male. I actually have the photos after if you want to look at them.
I do hazily remember what it kind of looks like. And I just want to, kind of make it known to everybody, yes, because I've seen some people are just it could have just been someone, walking on the bridge. But if you were that person walking on the bridge and you saw these two young girls, you were probably the last person to see them alive. So the fact that this person never came forward about it, it's just very obvious to me that this was the person that had something to do with it.
Yeah, and if you're just someone who's just there kind of walking on the bridge, you think you would come forward to clear your name. So the photo was grainy, but it depicted a Caucasian male with hands in his pocket, head down, and walking on the rail bridge towards the girls. A few days later, the person in the photograph was named the prime suspect in the double homicide. February 22nd, law enforcement released an audio recording during which the voice of the suspect, although muffled, is heard saying, "Down the hill." At this news conference, officials credited the source of audio and imagery to Libby's smartphone and further regarded her as a hero for having had the presence of mind and fortitude to secretly record the exchange. Police indicated that additional evidence from the phone had been secured, but they didn't release any details on that so that they wouldn't compromise the trial in the coming years. And that by that point, so we're just not even 2 weeks post murder, and the reward was set at $41,000 if anybody had information on the case. July 17th, police had distributed a composite sketch of someone sought as a person of interest in the murders. The sketch was apparently created from eyewitness accounts of a hiker on the Delphi Historic Trail the day the girls vanished.
What year was this in again?
2017.
Right. I knew it was like somewhat recent. I just couldn't remember the exact year.
Yeah. On April 22nd of 2019, Indiana State Police announced a new direction in the case and released a new sketch of the suspect while urging the public to look at the sketch, listen to the audio, and watch how the man walks on the bridge. There was a video on Libby's phone of the man in question, and they actually thought that maybe somebody could identify by his unique walk.
Because it was almost like a limp, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of like
Yeah.
a weird, like limp kind of thing going on. Obviously, not the full videos are released to the public because it's still a current pending trial. So, an investigator stated that they had reason to believe that the suspect might be just hiding in plain sight, and was almost certainly familiar with the Delphi area from living there, working there, or for whatever other reason that he might know it as. Additional pleas were made to help in identifying the driver of a vehicle that was left abandoned off the Hosier Heartland Highway in Delphi at the former Child Service Office between noon and 5 p.m. on the day of the murders.
But helped to identify. So was it plateless?
So I'm guessing so. There's not really like a lot of details. It was just kind of like
Unless it was a stolen
parked.
plate,
Yeah, it was kind of like parked, abandoned off, like off the side of the highway, and it was kind of just like an odd like placing for the vehicle. So they just kind of were like, does anybody know this vehicle or know anybody who was seen driving it, or any of those things? But there's no mention if there was a plate on it or not.
Right.
Not that I found, anyways.
Just because I was like, if the police can't identify it, you would think it would be something that's plateless because your name is tied to your plate.
Yeah, for sure. On July 23rd of 2019, a suspect who had been wanted for the kidnapping and rape in Tippecanoe County was named as one of the multiple suspects being investigated for the Williams and German murders, according to Carroll County Sheriff Toby Lesenby. The suspect had died by suicide the previous month, and on April 27th of 2021, Indiana State Police detectives named another suspect as a new person of interest in the Delphi murders. Arrest and case development. So on October 26th of 2022, so we're like almost 5 years past the actual murder, a suspect was taken into custody and appeared in court on October 28th. Yeah, he appeared in court October 28th, and on October 31st, Indiana State Police announced that the suspect had been charged with 2 counts of murder in the case. He has pleaded not guilty. His trial originally was scheduled to start March 20th of 2023, but had been postponed until later in the year at the request of the suspect's defense team. 2 public defenders were appointed to represent him. The suspect was identified as 50-year-old Richard Allen. He was a married man from Delphi. He was booked into the Carroll County Jail, and he was later moved to a state facility for his own safety. On November 29th, Judge Francis Gull issued an order to unseal probable cause affidavit that led to the suspect's arrest. According to the redacted document, video footage recovered from Libby's phone showed one of the victims mentioning gun as the man wearing a dark jacket and jeans approached them and ordered them to go down the hill. Investigators believe the suspect is the man seen in the video, and the investigators also found a .40 caliber unspent round, less than 2 feet from one victim's bodies, but between the two victims. It was determined that the round came from the gun that was owned by the suspect. A witness said she saw a man walking away from the bridge wearing a blue-colored jacket, blue jeans, and he was covered in mud and blood. Another witness and tip mentioned the car was parked oddly and appeared to be parked in a way to hide its license plate. So I guess that's the car that they're talking about.
Right, because there's also mention in the States you only have to have a back plate in most states.
So a lot of the states, but there is also another instance in here where they mention a car parked at a different location. So one of them, there's no mention of plates. I guess this one was the one that had the mention of the plate. Investigators said the description of the vehicle matched a vehicle that the suspect owned in 2017. According to the probable cause affidavit, the suspect was interviewed by police in 2017 and admitted to being on the trail that afternoon for about 2 hours. The document said that he also was interviewed in October of 2022, and he told the authorities he had worn jeans and a black or blue jacket that day and had gone to the bridge to watch fish. So just right there in 2017, they talked to Richard Allen, who admitted to being on the trail, and then again when they talked to him years later, he admitted like what he told them he wore that day, which is pretty specific. He identified himself as wearing that day.
That blue jacket.
Yeah, he said in his interview in October of 2022, he told authorities he had worn jeans and a black or blue jacket that day and had gone to the bridge to watch fish. Who goes anywhere to watch fish?
And I'm sorry for being punny, but it's such a fishy story, right? Like it's just like,
things don't add up.
You just so happen to be there and you look so similar to the guy in the video, but you also look like a witness's account of wearing the exact same clothes that supposedly came up muddy and bloody, but you were just washing fish.
Yeah. Well, and so like I don't understand how like the police didn't kind of question him more in 2017, considering he admitted to being on the trail that day, but we'll kind of get into it a little bit more here. So December 2nd, Judge Galt issued a gag order until January of 2023. The suspect's defense attorneys argued in a motion to move the trial out of Carroll County based on concerns about juror bias due to what they described as an extensive media attention and highly publicized nature of the case in the area. So in response to a request from Libby's mother, homeowners across central Indiana have had orange lights installed on their front porch, both to commemorate the girls as well as to indicate that the murderer remained at large. So this is just kind of like a memorial little portion here. And
it was orange because they were both on a volleyball team that had orange colors. Isn't that right?
I didn't read anything about that, but it is very possible because we're about to talk about some sports.
Because I'm pretty sure they were on the same sports teams, and that's why.
Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, like, they are a year apart, but in August of 2017, the families announced their plans to build a sports complex for Delphi in memory of the girls. A nonprofit organization, LNA Park Foundation, was formed to celebrate and commemorate the lives of Libby German and Abby Williams by creating the place for the appreciation of nature, art, play, and athleticism for generations to come. A site was procured a mile north of Delphi, and in the years following the girl's death, continued progress has been made in the development of the Abby and Libby Memorial Park. And in 2020, the LNA Park Foundation was named the recipient of the NBA All-Star 2021 Legacy Grant. The NBA All-Star Legacy Grant is designed to support organizations through brick-and-mortar projects focused on improving the health and wellness of young Hoosiers. The Legacy Grant, which now totals $1.2 million given out every year.
Wow.
Do you know what a Hoosier is?
No.
A Hoosier is someone native to Indiana.
Wow.
So, like,
you would say, like, heard of that.
Someone from Texas would be like a Texan. And,
yeah, but where does Hoosier come from?
There was like a long history. I just did not get into it.
I was just curious, like, even like a short explanation of like, oh, they used to have like an Indian tribe or Native American.
It did have to do with like Native Americans and stuff, and I believe if I recall correctly, when I was like doing the research. I'm sorry, my foot is asleep.
It's okay. My knee was starting to hurt too. So
killing me.
We're sitting on the floor, by the way, because it's the only way my mic will reach everybody.
Yeah. and also in her dad's basement, so we're just
So
chilling on the
yeah.
floor. And there's no rug, so it's not comfy.
True. Like the pillows are so small. Like, how is this thin little Wonder
I
Woman
mean,
pillow
I'll
supposed to
give
help
him the
me?
benefit of the doubt. He just moved into this house. So,
That's true.
he was charged with 2 counts of murder. He pleaded not guilty to the charges. However, in a dramatic twist, it came to light that he confessed to the 2017 killing on a phone call, with his wife from the jail. His trial date is set to start January 8th of 2024.
I can't believe he admitted to it.
Yeah, he said he didn't, and then turned around and said he did. When the police initially sent out the description of what this guy, kind of the prospects of the guy, they said that it was a white male between the ages of 16 to 40 years old.
16 to 40?
Yeah.
That man in that video, 16 to 40.
Yeah.
I don't think any 16-year-old looks like that because, I love you, Dad, but you have the exact same stature. Like, if my dad was wearing that exact same clothes, he would look like him.
That is literally almost everybody, every older guy with a dad bod, basically.
Yeah, literally. It definitely looks like he has a beard gut and all that. I swear, I've seen my dad look like this. So there is no way in my mind that I would think that this man looked 16.
Yeah, and was between 5'6" and 5'10" in height, and weighing between 180 and 200 pounds roughly.
Okay, the weight is the only thing I understand.
I honestly would say even heavier set than that.
Definitely on the 200 side, 100%.
I definitely would say more, probably 180 to 230, 240-ish maybe. Obviously, police had circulated a sketch matching the description of the main footage and in 2017 and one in 2019. Mr. Allen appears to bear a likeliness to the sketches. It had also emerged that the accused killer brazenly posed for a smiling selfie in front of one of the police sketches of the murder suspect. So there's actually pictures where he took a selfie and the police sketch was on the side of his fridge, and he's taking a selfie and it's in the background and posted it. So pretty brazen. And then there's also a chilling photo that was posted by his wife Kathy on Facebook in December of 2021. Mr. Allen is seen smiling alongside his wife in a local bar in Delphi. On the wall behind him is the 2019 police sketch that he looks like. So, who is Richard Allen? Before his sudden arrest, Mr. Allen's name was never publicly linked to the case. He was a local resident of Delphi, a small, close-knit town of about 3,000 people. He appeared to have no prior criminal record, though jail records list him as going by the alias Craig Ross Renfro, who is believed to be a real person connecting back to Peru. At the time of the murder, Richard Allen would have been 44 years old, so just outside of the initial estimated age bracket that the police had indicated.
Okay, but I'm sorry. He definitely looks 44 in this photo.
Yeah, the age range the police gave, I thought was A, super broad, and B, not even anywhere close. I probably would have given the age range as 35 to 50 roughly. Kind of would have been the age range, and even then, probably 40 to 50.
Yeah, I definitely would say at least 32 years old. At least. At the
I would say
minimum.
35.
But I'm just thinking, if a guy is a little heavier set, but he's still 30, I could see him looking like that.
Yeah.
I know a couple YouTubers who are and Twitch streamers who are around 30, and they kind of are heavier set like that.
Yeah.
So I could see it,
For
but
sure.
definitely nowhere even remotely in the 20s. Absolutely not.
So his family home is less than 5-minute drive away from where the bodies of Libby and Abby were found.
Wow.
He resided in the neighborhood southwest of the Manon High Bridge. According to online records, Mr. Allen has lived in Delphi since at least 2006 and in the state of Indiana for his whole adult life. He is married to his wife Kathy, with whom he shares an adult daughter. He is a trained pharmacy technician, and he received his most recent pharmaceutical license in February of 2018, 1 year after the murders. At the time of his arrest, he was working at the local CVS, coming into contact with members of the community as part of his job. Libby's grandparents, Mike and Becky Patty, said that they recalled Mr. Allen processing photos for them at the store. CVS offered its condolences to the victims' families and said that they would cooperate with the investigation in any way it can. And they were quoted as saying, as members of the Carroll County community, we remain devastated by these murders, and our hearts go out to the German and Williams families, the company said in a statement at the time of his arrest. They also said that we are shocked and saddened to learn that one of our store employees was arrested as a suspect in these crimes.
Sorry, did they say Star employees?
Our store
Oh,
employees.
I thought you said Star. I was like,
No,
oh come. I was like, oh my
definitely
god,
not a
come
Star
on, pillar of the
employee.
community. I was
Yeah,
like, what the
no,
heck?
no, they are not defending him in
Oh,
any way, shape, or form. Yeah, so one of their store employees was arrested as a suspect in these crimes. We stand ready to cooperate with the police investigation in any way we can. And local residents actually were shocked when the news had broke of his arrest, saying that he seemed like a normal guy, and that everybody that
they
had
always
kind of
do.
talked said that like he was always so nice and respectful and always going out of his way to help people, kind of thing. But that's usually the signs. Don't be too
I mean,
nice.
not every single
Not
normal nice person is like that.
no
But nobody, like, well, not nobody, but very few killers and that literally walk around being the most aggressive person you've ever met.
no for
Like, they
sure.
may have, like, some random sparks of, like, yelling at somebody or having a fight with somebody, but it's very, very rare that you actually see somebody who is constantly aggravated.
No, for sure. The affidavit released on November 29th revealed that prosecutors tied Mr. Allen to a bullet found at the scene of the murder. The document states that the ballistics confirmed that the unspent .40 caliber round found close to the bodies of the victims had come from a Sig Sauer model P226 belonging to Mr. Allen. He owned the gun since 2001, which was found during the search of his home in May of 2023. So they didn't even find the gun tied to that unspent bullet. The unspent bullet that was found beside their bodies, like they didn't even locate that gun till May of this year.
Wow.
When they did a search warrant of his house. Both the 50-year-old local man and his wife Kathy allegedly confirmed that he was the only one. They confirmed that they were the only ones with access to that firearm. The affidavit also released that Mr. Allen spoke with investigators at least twice, including in 2017, confirming that he was on the police radar at the time of the murders, because he placed himself at the scene on the same day and time that they were there for their walk.
So did he... Wait, they were there?
Yeah, so like he admitted to being there when they were there.
Oh, when the girls were there. Did he come forward with that information, or did they figure out it was him by somebody's witness?
It doesn't really say, because like they really kept like a lot of the details of this case like super hush hush.
Well, because it's a small community, so
that too, but like even like what they released, like what's online now, and I mean it's also still a court case that's going through the court process, so it's kind of still an active case. So there's some unknown stuff going on. Yeah, placing him on the scene at the same day and time that the victims went on their fateful walk. He claimed to have no involvement and claimed to not have seen the girls that day. The accused killer said he had not been on the property where the unspent round was found, and that he did not know the property owner, and that he had no explanation as to why a round cycled through his firearm would be at that location. It says the property owner, Ron Logan, was also previously tied to the case. He died in 2020, before the investigation was complete. Investigators now believe Mr. Allen to be Bridge Guy. So we're also just going to quickly go through other people that they had kind of tied to the case. Keegan Anthony Klein was a 27-year-old Indiana man who fell under the spotlight in 2022 when the online account he used to groom underage girls was tied to the teenage victims. His home had been searched on suspicion of child porn charges just 2 weeks after the 2017 murders. And in December of 2021, Indiana State Police announced that officials had uncovered a fake online profile called Anthony_Shots. The profile was used from 2016 to 2017 on platforms including Snapchat and Instagram, and used photos of a known male model portraying him as being extremely wealthy and owning numerous sports cars. Investigators said the person behind the account was Keegan Anthony Klein, a 27-year-old man with addresses in Kokomo and Peru, close to Delphi. But if we remember, Allen also went by an alias based on his previous run-ins with the law, because he obviously, they said that he had no previous criminal history, but he also went by this name that was tied to a home in Peru.
Right.
And now this Klein guy also has a connection to Peru.
So at this point, this is what I feel like you're hinting at here, is that there could be a child trafficking, porn, like pedophilia ring going on
So
here.
that's not where I was going with that.
Oh, that's what I was gathering here.
Yeah, so where I was kind of going with that is that I think that Klein is still involved in some way and may have been he may have lured them there for him to take them. I guess it kind of is connected to what you're saying, but I do think that Mr. Allen did not work alone on this.
So so Mr. Allen had previous arrests.
He had none under his name of
but under the Peru name.
Yeah, under the name that connects back to a address in Peru.
What was it for? Was it for anything like child pornography?
It didn't say what it was for. It just mentioned that
he had an arrest record under a different name.
Well, he didn't have an arrest record or anything, but he when they typed in his name, his alias with that other name came up. So it didn't mention if he had been arrested at all, just that he also went by a second name. Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is what I find weird.
So he didn't have any criminal record that they could find, or do you not?
There was nothing that I could find saying that he.
So I feel like they would have said, oh, he had previous, he had a criminal record or anything. That. So that just makes it even weirder, because in a small community, he randomly is walking on this path, quote unquote, randomly, and this other guy from Peru could have lured them there, and he just, quote unquote, happens to be there and murders them for no reason.
Potentially murders them.
Potentially. Obviously, nothing is set in stone because the trial has not happened, but allegedly, yeah. Allegedly is the word. Allegedly kills them for no reason.
Yeah. So, according to an affidavit, Klein posed as the model in order to groom underage girls and get them to send nude photos and their addresses to try to get them to meet him. The male model whose photos were used had no connection to the case. Klein was arrested in...
Assumably.
Yeah, he was arrested on charges of child sexual abuse images and child exploitation tied to the account in 2020. He allegedly admitted to investigators that he groomed underage girls online. The affidavit said that the Indiana State Police and the FBI carried out search warrant on February 25th of 2017, so 2 weeks after they were murdered, at Klein's home in Peru after tracking down the user of Anthony_Shots profile to the property. Klein told investigators that he would use social media accounts to talk to underage girls and had exchanged messages with and received about 100 sexual photos and about 20 sexually explicit videos from about 15 underage girls. He denied knowledge or involvement in the two teenagers' deaths. He was charged with 30 felonies in 2020 over the case, and 5 charges were dropped. He pled guilty to 25 counts and is currently awaiting sentencing. Documents filed in 2020 were heavily redacted and don't mention the murders of Libby and Abby. He was not accused of involvement in their deaths. Libby's grandma, Becky Patey, told The Independent in December that the teenagers had never mentioned speaking to anybody online prior to their death, and there had never been any indications that they had arranged to meet anybody from online the day they were killed. A quote that she said, "Up until last night, we were all under the impression that there was no indication, and even now, as far as I'm aware, there's no indication that the girls had any plans to meet anyone out there on the trail," she said. Miss Patey raised Libby from the age of 3 along with her husband Mike. also said that she had never heard of Klein before investigators released the information about social media profile to the public. However, after so many leads had gone cold, she said she was not going to get her hopes up, that it was a breakthrough that the family had been waiting for. Investigators urged anyone who had communicated with, met, or attempted to meet the individual posing as Anthony underscore Shots to come forward with information. And that's pretty much the last of him. And then the next one would be Mr. Ronald Logan. Logan had previously been on police radar, according to a 2017 search warrant applications. He owned the land on which their bodies were found. His home was located just 1,400 feet from the crime scene. The warrant application claims multiple complaints that he was violent towards women and that he owned multiple weapons, handguns, knives. He allegedly lied about where he was at the time of the teenager's disappearance. He told investigators he was picked up by a friend around 2 on February 13th and driven to an aquarium store, returning hours later around 5 p.m.
I'm sorry, it's just ironic that fish is involved once again.
I honestly didn't even think of that.
That is the second
to be completely honest.
that a fish has been involved.
And
I know it can be it could just be ironic, but it's like
I think like all three of these guys like have valid, like there's valid things that kind of come up about them that I'm like, I think the three of them were probably working together, possibly, just based on it was, Ron's property. The other guy was grooming them. Klein was grooming them, and then Alan just matched the description and said he was there at the time, and also described his clothing as the exact same as what was in that photo. So
were the girls ever sexually assaulted, or?
So we'll get to that.
Okay, just because like I have this story in my mind.
Okay.
Whatever, but
yeah. So the friend confirmed. Yeah, returning hours later around 5, the document states, and his friend confirmed his alibi before admitting 2 days later that he had made up the story and Logan asked him to lie. Instead, cell phone location data placed Mr. Logan in the area around the trail at the time of their disappearance. And they also said that his voice was not inconsistent with the man captured in the video by Libby. He was never charged, and he died of complications of COVID-19 before the case was solved. However, he would have been 77 years old at the time of the murders.
That doesn't mean he was the guy on the bridge. Just means that he...
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he definitely was not the guy on the bridge. Especially if you see photos, like, he doesn't look like bridge guy whatsoever.
But Keegan Allen definitely looks like bridge guy, right?
Keegan is Klein.
Sorry, I know a guy from high school named Keegan Allen. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so Keegan Klein.
I just mushed them together.
He definitely is a heavier set guy, and I could definitely see him as potentially also being bridge guy.
But I meant Richard Allen. Sorry.
Yeah, so Richard Allen definitely looks like bridge guy, but so does Klein. So,
but yet again, like we said before,
Klein is 27.
Our parents look like bridge guy. Like our dads look like bridge guy. Well, especially my dad.
I mean, can't like really see like much of his face either, so it's kind of like super hard to tell.
Because
do you have the photo of
you're
looking at
I have the photo with and like Libby's right there.
Yeah,
but literally, I swear to God, my dad wears.
That's not Libby. That's Abby.
Whatever.
Because it was posted on Libby's Snapchat.
Sorry. I haven't looked at this case in like over a year.
Yeah.
But I swear to God, my dad, growing up, he had obviously those blue pants. Everyone has blue jeans like that.
Yeah.
But that blue windbreaker, I swear my dad had the exact same one. And my dad has a brown toque.
Yeah.
So like I have seen my dad wear this exact same thing before.
Yeah.
And like it looks like he has
it's like one of those just generic Walmart dad starter packs.
Yeah, pretty much. I obviously am not looking at the video because I don't want to do that. But it kind of looks like he had a mustache a little bit, and it looked like it was kind of brown.
Yeah, he looked like he had like a
kind of like a goatee. And my dad had that every once in a while growing up. So like I swear, my dad had looked.
I gotta say, I don't remember my dad with facial hair ever.
My dad literally, ever since he was like, I think me and my sister were born, he didn't have his passport, and then he didn't have his passport again until like 3 years ago. So I know obviously it wasn't him, but like because my dad never went to Indiana. But also I don't know why I had to say anything about the passport, But but my dad
You're
looks
just
exactly like
clearing
that.
and exonerating your dad.
Yeah, I'm just
as the
saying that my
murderer.
dad had nothing to do with this. I swear. But no, like my dad looks exactly like that. It's like that's just such a
Yeah.
generic
Dad
clothes.
starter pack.
Yeah, like it's not like he's wearing like a zebra print jacket or anything, you know?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, for sure.
it's such a generic looking outfit.
Yeah. So 5 years after the murder, news of the arrest raised hope among the community that there would finally be closure in the case. A local store owner, Laura Green, said that the community had never been the same after the murders. It had a big effect. I mean, in the beginning, we didn't trust anybody. We were always looking behind our back, she told Fox 59 after Mr. Allen's arrest. She said finally having a breakthrough in the case was a positive day. We're very happy as a community. We can put this behind us. I'm very happy for the family. And then there's another resident, Audrey Wardrop, who said that the family never gave up hope. She said, despite their grief, and maybe they found that in their grief, to never give up and never quit. I mean, they have built softball fields to bring awareness to their children, and it's just a beautiful thing that they are so strong. However, even if the development brings some closure to the case, the families of Libby and Abby will never have closure from what happened. It doesn't heal the hurt or, change anything for the families, but maybe this will bring some sort of ease to them. And then I just have a few other quick things. So during a bail hearing on November 22nd, prosecutors asked the judge to keep affidavits in the case sealed as they believe Mr. Allen may not have acted alone. So they didn't want to release information because they believe there's possibly more people involved, kind of like we talked about. Prosecutors Nicholas McClelland also argued that unsealing the affidavit would open witnesses to harassment. Ms. Patty had also sought to have sensitive information relating to the case kept out of the public eye, prosecutors said. Mr. Allen penned a handwritten letter from his prison cell claiming that his wife had been forced into hiding and that he is now at the mercy of the court. He also wrote a letter that was obtained by The Independent, which I believe is a newspaper article, publishing thing.
Okay.
Revealed that his wife Kathy has been forced to leave both of her jobs and the couple's home in Delphi for her own safety. He begged the court to appoint a public defender after previously informing the court that he had intended to hire private counsel to represent him. He is now seeking to suppress certain evidence from the case, and the case is still pending and ongoing at this point in time. And then to go back on what you said about sexually assaulted, there was no evidence from what I found of a sexual assault or anything.
Okay. Like when it comes to like fluids, so like we don't know if like he still like groped them or any of that gross stuff. But again, like just because they didn't send photos or whatever, but if they didn't have any Snapchat, I don't fully know how Snapchat works because obviously like I don't have Snapchat anymore, but when you send a Snapchat to someone, like they can only view it for a certain amount of time. I know there's apps out there and ways that you can. Oh yeah, 100%. That definitely looks like Bridge Guy. Oh yeah.
Like you can see the.
Yeah, it looks like it almost looks like the beard is like under his shirt or jacket or something.
If you look here,
it almost I don't have my glasses on, but absolutely,
it almost looks like it's kind of like blowing in the wind a little bit there.
Especially
because like we're also talking about February, so like it wouldn't have been like
it might not have
warm,
been that long,
but it was like possibly windy that day. And then here's the selfie with the sketch in the background.
Oh my gosh. Do you have any other photos?
Yeah, there's. So that was the initial sketch, which the initial sketch to me, like.
Okay, I could see how they would think that he was 16 from the sketch.
Yeah, the initial sketch was kind of just like, I think, a quick thing to throw together.
Like a face shape.
Yeah, kind of thing.
Stuff
just
like
very
that.
Generic. That's Klein. So I could see how. Like, he's definitely a heavier set dude, but definitely more than 200 pounds for sure.
Oh, 100%.
So definitely could see how he could also be misconstrued as Bridge Guy or involved.
Yeah.
And that was the photo of the model that he was using. So that's who he was claiming to be. Obviously, pretty drastic difference from what he actually looks
obviously,
like.
this guy looks creepy.
Yeah. And then that is Mr.
Logan.
Ronald Logan.
Well, he looks like a grumpy old man too.
He definitely looks like not a hardened criminal, but like definitely like a lifelong
He's definitely a hard
petty
ass.
criminal,
100%.
kind of like douche,
like
kind
literally
of
like illegal booze in his car at all times, makes like
yeah,
moonshine. Definitely 100%.
yeah. So there's the girl. So that's
I always think that it's the opposite way around. I always think
Libby
that Abby
and
and Libby
Abby
are different, or like swapped.
yeah. So
I don't know why I think
the
that. I
Snapchat
do.
picture there, but yeah. So
I like seeing the photos that you have.
yeah. See, this is why we need to like.
I wish that we were closer.
Record more.
I wish that we were closer. Yeah.
So much easier, and it's easier to have a dialogue when you're like face to face versus.
Yeah, no long pauses.
Yeah.
You can see each other's facial expressions.
I feel bad for you editing this because we're just rambling.
No, but like
so
I like to see like it's nice to see what you've seen when you were researching. And I knew a little bit about this case already, but like I was saying with Snapchat, like I know that like there's ways to get around keeping a Snapchat photo, which even if you're sending nudes through Snapchat, it's not safe.
Yeah.
Because I mean, someone could have another device take a photo of the picture you sent.
And it's funny because this had nothing to do with a nude, but a friend of mine, we actually did that not that long ago. She was like, hey, can you take a picture of this from your phone? Because if I screenshot it, they'll get notified. She's like, but I want like a picture of this. So we took a picture on my phone of the Snapchat, and then I sent it to her in a message. It was nothing bad. Obviously, it was nothing inappropriate or anything. It was just something that we kind of just wanted to keep a copy of. So
I've personally done that for, like, I would take a picture using my iPad of my iPhone when I had Snapchat.
Yeah.
Of my iPhone when somebody was being an absolute douche to me in a conversation. Because if I screenshotted, they would know that I screenshotted it.
Yeah, so
like, there's ways to get around it. And
for sure.
It's not, like, and so, like, but let's just say someone did send you a Snapchat message and say, hey, meet me at the bridge. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I don't know if, like, I know everything you do that's public isn't private. But with Snapchat, with it automatically deleting, those pictures that have words, does it save it in a database?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, I don't know how Snapchat works, obviously, in programming, because I'm not a programmer. Because obviously, like, written text is written text, but...
Yeah, no, for sure. And, like, I actually... Some guy made a pretty rude remark about me fairly recently, actually, on Snapchat, and he deleted me on Snapchat, and I screenshotted it. So I don't know, since he had removed me on Snapchat, if he still gets the notification that I screenshotted it, but I have evidence and he doesn't. So go fuck yourself, buddy. If you're hearing this,
that's the guy.
He will never listen to this podcast. But
that's the guy that said a rude remark after you didn't hang out with him, right? Or
because I didn't see his message and I hadn't opened it, and he started making pretty rude remarks. So.
Gotta love
fuck
people.
You, asshole. Yeah.
Absolutely love people, for sure.
For sure. So yeah, that is the case. And then obviously because it is ongoing, we will update as updates come up in this case. So
yeah. I absolutely 100% believe that. Like, like, this is the way that it's construed in my head. Obviously, there's no proof of anything because I don't have any evidence at all.
This is just our opinions. Like,
yeah,
strictly...
this is my opinions based on the alleged murder arrest of Alan and everything going on with these three guys. So I think that Keegan definitely lured them or tried to get them to go to somewhere. I don't know how he would have done it if Snapchat has proof of things like that. I don't know. But I 100% believe that they were lured there somewhere, or if he has them on Snapchat but never actually talked to them and they had their stat maps on, just saying.
Also, yeah,
because that's another thing that I hate about Snapchat. That should not be a thing. That is so dangerous. But
yeah, I only have like my Snapchat maps turned on for
specific people.
Two people.
I used to have it for you, my friend Alyssa, my sister, or anytime anybody was going to meet a guy or anything, or a girl or anything like that, I would have them send it to me, or I would have them send me their actual like iPhone maps thing. But anyway, so I think that they were lured there somehow, or someone found out where they were. But yet again, so I'm basing this on the three guys. Even Logan could have said, "Oh, there's two young girls on the bridge." They head over there. He's walking up behind them, tells them to go down the hill towards Logan's house, and all three of them are kind of hanging out. And maybe the one that was charged with child pornography, whatever,
Klein.
he could have wanted them to take their clothes off to take pictures. Who knows? And then my parents just got home, but and then then they could have attacked them and killed them.
For sure.
Like that is easily what could have happened. And maybe that casing that was shot into the air, because they weren't shot.
It was unspent, yeah.
So like he could have put the bullets in the gun, wanting to scare them. Mm-hmm. Right? Like that is just saying like, oh hey, like I have a gun, so do what we try to tell you to do. They didn't comply, and then obviously this old guy who had anger issues anyway killed them. Like it easily could have been that. Yeah. Like that is just the way that it's presented to me, which could be the case, 100%. But again, that's all alleged. Yeah. But do you have any other updates?
No, there's no other updates. All our other cases are closed. This one's the first one I think we've done that's an open case.
Yeah. So. Yeah, all the other ones, like there was a conviction, they've been arrested, and they're still in jail, free, unfortunately, with the last episode, or dead. But
I mean, Logan is dead, but
I mean, yeah, but he wasn't allegedly convicted of anything.
No,
he was just suspected. But yeah. So this is the end of this episode. If you ever want to get in contact with us, you can DM us on Instagram at worstcasemacchiato, or you can email us at worstcasemacchiato@gmail.com. We will respond to anybody as fast as we can, if we can. Sometimes we get busy, and we all know that people get busy, so please forgive us for that. You can either recommend cases to us, or if you have any further information about a case that we may have left out, we will address it in the next episode. Or if you just want to give your opinion on something, just let us know on one of those platforms, and we will see you in the next one. Bye!
Bye!